2026 is on us, and there's only 4 luxury car brands I would recommend. Consumer Reports has their fingers on this, and 3 of them make their list, but in my own personal opinion, one of them needs to be added because it is just that good. A lot of these vehicles now are Turbo 4s, Turbo 3s. Who wants that crap? I'm going to give you the 4 best luxury car brands, and probably the only ones I would buy. Anything else, you'd be bananas. Let's get into it now. Life's too short to drive boring cars. Acura is the first luxury brand I would strongly recommend. Some people say it's not a true luxury brand, but you know what? They take everything Honda does and they step it up to luxury car appointments. To get the big sunroofs, you get all of the luxury amenities, you get more powerful drivetrains in many cases. What's not to love? Acura has this newly released ADX, is one of those duds that I don't necessarily love, but they have great models. Like the Integra, you can get a 2-liter turbo with a manual gearbox, feels sporty. But most importantly, for luxury, the RDX is quick, spirited, subcompact SUV that answers all the questions for anybody needing a performance-oriented luxury SUV. It's also not that expensive. But if you want to step into something a little bit bigger and more luxurious, you also have that wonderfully glorious MDX, which, believe it or not, you can get a couple of great drivetrains. Yeah, you can get a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. Not everybody wants turbos. You want to skip that? Well, guess what? They also have their base trim engine. 3.5-liter V6, naturally aspirated. Sure, you've got to change the odd timing belt, but guess what? You get 3 rows, luxury appointments. It looks stylish. Have you seen the headlights? Have you seen the finishing on these vehicles? They look absolutely pristine. But the beauty is, because it's more or less manufactured by Honda, the durability is there. The 10-year repair and service cost of these vehicles, according to Repair Pal, is only around $8,000 in that 10-year time frame. That's far from breaking the bank. And with vehicles like the MDX, even though there has been a small collection of these vehicles with engine troubles, there was a couple of recalls in Acura lineup with these 3.5-liter V6, a small number of VINs that had potential issues for engine troubles. Get past that VIN, you're good. The 1.5s in the base Integra, not that amazing, and neither are the ADX, but they are fairly reliable. Oil and fuel dilution, do your oil changes more frequently. But outside of that, it's a reliable brand that when 5 years creeps up on you of owning these vehicles, you've only lost about 45% of its original value depending on the model. As a matter of fact, that beautiful supercar that they sell, the Acura NSX, is also breakthrough, state-of-the-art, hybrid, and it's reliable. Acura is just one of those brands that I've always loved, but some people just overlook these brands. According to Car Edge as well, only about a 26.3% chance of hitting a catastrophic failure in 10 years means it's vastly better than the industry average for luxury cars. What's not to love? Naturally aspirated V6s, small engines that are high revving that have the manual gearbox. How many of those can you find around these days? Even the RDX is a reliable little unit. It's an absolute top state-of-the-art brand. Unfortunately, sales are down for Acura, which means that unfortunately their offerings become fewer. That being said, Acura is definitely one of those few luxury car brands I would buy in a heartbeat in 2026. The next OEM is a car brand that I've owned many models. Some are better, some are worse. But BMW has made the list. According to Consumer Reports, it's one of the only luxury car vehicles in the European segment that has actually made the top 10 for most reliable. No Audi, no Benz, no nothing. BMW. The i4 is also touted as being one of the most reliable luxury car segments that are an EV. That's right, the i4 is a reliable vehicle. It only needed a few little tunes in terms of updates and recalls and internal bulletins. Other than that, those are reliable. On top of it, you know that 255 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder engine? That's right, it's called the B48. You've probably heard all about it. It's one of the most reliable engines in the luxury car segment right now. Every OEM is building turbo 2-liter 4s. You can see it from Alfa to Benz as well to BMW. Even Mercedes-Benz is utilizing their 2-liter turbo and variations of that packaged up with hybrid just to attain certain horsepower targets. Unfortunately, it's still a 4-cylinder engine. And BMW is not pretending to be something it's not because it's giving you a 2-liter turbo 4. And you know that. With 255 horse, it's one of the most powerful in its segment. It also has one of the most legendary turbocharged inline 6. That's right, the B58. There was a time when BMW struggled with fueling issues, coolant leaks, oil leaks, and the N54 in their first attempt at turbocharging a 6-cylinder engine was a literal catastrophic failure. Ask me how I know. I had one of those. They were a piece of crap. Time has moved on. We've moved on to the N55. And now, guess what? The B58, couple generations in, they've fixed the problems. It's not perfect, but boy, it sure is close. And on top of it, BMW is one of the best driving experiences. If you like luxury cars, and clearly if you do, you enjoy the value, the look, the style, the performance. Otherwise, you'd just buy a Honda. No, Instead, you want that luxury. So BMW is the place to go. Even their V8s, their 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8s that they've had so many problems with, N63, S63, well, guess what? Even those are vastly better than they've been. They constantly upgrade, NU upgrades, TU upgrades year after year after year. They are costly. They are expensive. If you need to change a turbo or do some major maintenance, it's going to break the bank. And you know what? At $230 an hour shop rate, that's not cheap either. Where Acura has about an $8,000 running cost for maintenance and repairs in a 10-year time frame, BMW is closer to $16,000. So all that fun, performance, and durability comes at a cost. But when you buy a BMW, you buy one of their most legendary drivetrains, you'll know exactly why people buy them. Are they worth the trouble? Absolutely. Are there more reliable cars on the market? Possibly. Not in the European segment, however, because according to Consumer Reports, BMW is the top pop. And of the only BMWs I would buy, anything with that B58 engine. And you could find it in everything from 3 Series, 4, 5 Series cars. You can find it in almost all of their SUVs, from the X3, X4, X5, X6, and X7s. They are legendary, and it gives you the ability to get into almost every different model with that same durable platform. There's always a weakness somewhere, right? Wrong. See, because where a lot of these luxury car brands, they might have a great engine, but they have a weak gearbox. They might have a strong gearbox, but they got a problematic engine. Well, BMW is pretty well sorted. And with the B58 made it up to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission, that's also one of the most legendary autos in the market. You can get M cars, you can get non-M cars, M car lights like the 340s, and I just can't get enough. They match up. Their all-wheel drive systems in the xDrive are reliable as well. And really, the vast amount of issues related to BMW are the odd recall, like the brake recalls, or some water ingress in a starter recalls, the odd backup camera recall. The big issue with BMW is that damn subscription services. Avoid that or minimize your impact there, and you've got yourself one of the best luxury car brands on the planet. The only downfall, there are still the odd issue with water pumps from time to time. That being said, they've moved their inline 6-cylinder water pumps into something that's more of a mechanical system than the old problematic electric system. They also had heat encapsulation system, which reduces the high and low temperature swings, which of course were a major nemesis to the cracked piping, which caused coolant leaks. That heat encapsulation system is now reducing a lot of those problems. BMW has now finally worked out a lot of their bugs, and while they're not perfect, Consumer Reports finds it worthy to put on their list. And so do I. Thanks so much for all the new members supporting the channel. If you want your own emoji, priority questions, and sneak peek of a new video, or you just want to support the channel, be sure to hit down there, hit that link. That's going to do all the work for you. Thanks again so much, everybody. The next car manufacturer in the luxury car segment, that's right, we're talking about Lexus. And we know that they're one of the most reliable brands on the planet. They almost always make the top 5, top 3 of the most reliable brands. Consumer Reports loves them. RepairPal loves them. Everybody loves a Lexus. They're not as great to drive as a BMW. But guess what? In a 5-year time frame, according to CarEdge, they still retain almost 62% of their original value. Did you also realize in 10 years, the average service, maintenance, and repair cost from the average Lexus is only going to be around $7,000. It's even less than the Acura. They seem to thrive on the practical approach. You can go into the dealership, allegedly, I've never experienced this, I hear about it. They massage your feet and polish you up and make you feel all nice and warm and fuzzy when you're getting your vehicle serviced. Lexus does have that boutique treatment. The vehicles are great, they're reliable, and they're practical as well. Now, there are some weaknesses. Sadly, unfortunately, they've had some problems along the way. Of course, we think about the latest GX550 was just added to a recall list of some of those bad V35A engines, those V6s that allegedly are blowing bearings. Unfortunately, the same problem goes for the LX600, same engine. Most of these other models are great. The UX series, of course, is essentially more or less a Corolla, and Corollas are arguably one of the most boring, but the most reliable cars on the planet. The Corolla Cross, another great vehicle. I always stand by the IS. Absolutely, in a heartbeat, one of the best Lexus products. Both reliable, good looking, and stout. You get 4 doors, a trunk, rear-wheel drive. It's amazing. And when you get the V6, it's great. You don't just get direct fuel injection, you get it doubled down with, of course, port fuel injection, so it washes away all that carbon crap that builds up on the intake valves that so many direct injected luxury car vehicles suffer from. The Lexus NX, another one of my faves, because you can either get the base 2.4-liter turbo 4, pretty reliable, not a lot of complaints about that engine yet. Then you can also step it up. You can get the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated upgraded 4, which is one of their legendary drivetrains. You find that in our base Camry with 204 horsepower. They put it in just about everything when they made it up to a hybrid drive. And yes, you can also get that with the 350h. You get the NA 4-cylinder with the hybrid drive. You can also get the 450h Plus, which is a plug-in hybrid. Again, more power, more fun. But none of the reliability has been sacrificed there because Lexus has been reliable upon reliable. And the only drawback is that unfortunately we're going to see the LC500 go bye-bye next year, allegedly. And unfortunately this year the ES, which was their most reliable full-size sedan, more or less built on an Avalon-type platform by Toyota, has gone away. That's another vehicle that many people swear by, live by. We also can't forget about the RX. That's a great one too. Built on North American soil, it's a worthy mention, but not as great as the others. Consumer Reports, they love them. I like them too. The next brand is one that I've loved for many years. I've had numerous models like that myself, and I can attest. It's a brand that has a bit of a mixed review. When you talk to some people like RepairPal, they say it has about a 2 out of 5 reliability, but it gives you one of the best driving experiences you'll ever find. On top of it, you can expect some of the best appreciation. In other words, you can drive most of these cars for 5 years and get 80% of your money back. What's not to love? It's not like throwing money down a proverbial pit. And according to RepairPal, one of the best luxury car brands to buy in 26 is Porsche. At an average annual repair cost of about $1,192, it's marginal. You're up around $12,000 for a 10-year time frame. You can expect about 0.8 visits per year. In other words, almost once a year to deal with some kind of significant problem. And according to Consumer Reports, they actually rank Porsche as better than many of the mainstream brands. It's actually considered a fairly reliable brand. And that's all a bonus and a win when you consider how great a 911 is to drive. Have you ever pulled gears on a PDK car as you're merging onto a freeway on-ramp, pulling full throttle? It is excitement beyond. Even manual gearboxes still available, and that's a dying breed, but in Porsche you can still get it. And according to JD Power's results of 2025, they consider many of the models have a varying degree of reliability, like the Panamera at 75 out of 100, the Taycan at 75 out of 100, 78 out of 100 for the Macan, 83 out of 100 for the Cayenne, and good news, 91 out of 100 for the Porsche 911, one of their most legendary cars you can ever imagine. Porsche 911 ranks the highest for customer satisfaction according to JD Powers and Associates. If you want the best experience, buy yourself a 911. Now, some amazing news. If you're buying an SUV, you're going to see a little more depreciation. But if you're buying a Cayman, a 5-year depreciation will still leave you with 79.5% of its original value. And according to iCars.com, a Porsche 911 can retain as much as 80 to 85% of its original value in 5 years. You can have your cake and eat it too. Drive the wheels off, autocross, join a club, go to those car meets, do this for 5 years, get your willies out, enjoy the car, have fun, and get all your money back in 5 years. There have been some recalls, backup cameras, electronics, updates for software. There have been some issues, and technology affects every brand these days. But Porsche is one of the best to get their game done and get all those things sorted out for you. So what's not disputable is the excitement, the fun, and the joy you're going to get from buying a 911 or Cayman. As a matter of fact, those two models specifically are the industry's best value retention. You can buy a 911 and absolutely not lose your shirt. Remember, the coupes do better, the GT series cars even do better, Cabrios, Targas, not as well, but at the end of the day, a Porsche is a Porsche is a Porsche. So which one strikes your fancy? Just in case you're thinking, what's the best Lexus vehicles to buy? I get into much more detail about that. Maybe the best Acuras. I talk about those in more depth too. Hope to see each and every one of you real soon, everybody. Catch you then. Bye-bye.